when you walk in these doors, you feel seen here. There's been other services and other conferences that I've gone to, like ladies' conferences or those type of events. And not that they aren't welcoming, but the difference here is you can walk in here and I bet there's 10 people that'll talk to you.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to the official, I want to say first episode, but it's not, because you already had the pilot, but our official, real first episode of the pod at ROLC. Thank you for joining us. I want to say thank you so much for those of you that you have shared, those of you that have followed us on Apple and Spotify, and that you followed the YouTube page. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and also all of you that you've been getting the chatter out. That's the best way to spread this. So the pilot had great success. I'm so glad all of you listen. And like I said, today we have got our first real episode going on today. So thank you for watching, and we are going to jump into it today. Today I've got some very, very special guests, some dear friends of mine, Todd and Jaci Morrison. Thank you guys so much for joining and being a part of this. Sure. And I'm looking forward to it. Hope that you guys are too. They're pros. They're going to be fine. It'll be great. It'll be good. Today what I want to talk about with you guys is I want to talk about engaging and staying active in a growing church. How long have you guys been coming to ROLC for?
4 years.
Yeah, a little over 4, I think.
Okay, so you guys have been through some change.
Yeah.
Even currently, while we're recording this, we actually don't even have an entrance to the church right now because one was a tornado and the other is getting like new sheetrock right now. So you've lived through the mess of things that are going on here. So you guys, I thought, man, what a better couple to talk about this topic of a growing church, because you guys have been here long enough now to see, were you guys here when the sanctuary was turned like the total?
No. No.
Okay.
It had just happened, I think, not very long before we came.
So you guys have been here.
I've seen pictures of the purple.
Yeah.
The purple carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah. People that know we had some purple carpet way back in the day. So the reason I wanted you guys to be on here for this is that, and there's a lot of people that can attest to this, but you guys are people that I think of that, and as I say this, maybe you have enemies in life and they may not like this, but I'm glad that they're watching. But you guys are the type of people that I feel like most anybody can get along with, that you guys are really good at making friends, or at least making people feel like they're friends, or whatever you want to word that. But you guys are really good at just making everybody feel welcome. And I think that's one thing that I've learned to notice about you guys and appreciate, and why I believe that we're friends, is that you guys are just fun people to be around. You connect with a lot of people. And that's why I really wanted you guys on here today to talk about this idea of, as a church is growing, as things are happening, as changes are always going on, to talk about some of these ways that you stay engaged. Because what I've seen happen a lot of times is that a church grows and then people leave. A change happens and then people leave again. And so as we're doing this, I just want to get your guys' inputs, your thoughts, some things that you've seen throughout, being here over the last 4 years, and some stuff that you've learned to help other people, whether it's people at River of Life, whether it's people in a different church across the country, it doesn't matter, but just some ways that we can grow with a growing church. And that's what I want to talk about today. So first thing I want to ask you guys about, we just went to 2 services. We're only like 2 weeks into it. Yep. I want to hear just some of your guys' input on this, just some thoughts, your feelings about 2 services. And then also, too, one of the biggest concerns I heard from people was, well, when we go to 2 services, I'm not going to get to see so-and-so, and I don't think I like that. So you guys give me your thoughts. Talk to me about 2 services and how to deal with, staying connected with people.
I think, well, first of all, a lot of people might look at it like it's negative because of that very reason. I won't get to see everybody or whatever it is. But honestly, if you look at it like what we're here for, look how many more people are going to come to Jesus. Mm-hmm. Look what we've already seen. Just first service has exploded already.
Oh, true.
And that's the one I thought people would go to less, to be honest with you.
Same, 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. I didn't think anybody would be here.
Yeah,
and
I figured that would be the skimpy crew.
Right.
But it's actually it's been the opposite, which is cool because I think that just, if you're going to try church, chances are you're going to go to the later service if you're new. That's just my thoughts. The only reason I think that is because that's normal church.
Right. Later on.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But that part of it, I mean, I think there's nothing negative about it other than you might have to go switch up your schedule if that's what you so you can see your friends or whatever. And I don't even think that's negative, but people get stuck in their rut is what I'm assuming.
Definitely.
Where I think a lot of the negativity on it comes from is you're going to have your early morning people that'll be first service every time, and then you've got your people that wants to sleep in that's going to be the late service every time, and they get in a rut, so to speak, or just set in their ways, and that's where you get your division of it. When it gets like that, it is almost like you've got two different churches. But our mentality is to switch it up.
Yeah.
Go to the late service this week. Go to the early next week.
Nobody says you have to go.
Honestly.
Right. Nobody, and it's, to me, it's awesome to have the two services because, like I just said, if I want to sleep in, hey, I can go to the late service.
Sure.
If I'm up and early or I have something to do that afternoon, I can go with the early service.
Yeah.
And I'm done by 10 o'clock.
Or I do know people that have different work schedules. I know that there's been some that have actually came because they could come to early and they couldn't come to late because they already had to be at work.
Right.
So there's a lot of good.
Yeah, that was a great, even just last week, right? You had to go to work on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
And so you're like, hey, I'm out of here. You won't see me? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I've got to go run to, wherever. And so, yeah, I think that's great to see that. And like you were talking about, nobody says that once you go to the 9 a.m., you always have to go to the 9 a.m.
Right.
Sometimes you got great ambitions. Anybody like I like to work out in the morning. And when I go to bed, I'm very motivated. But at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm not so motivated sometimes. So it's like, you know what? I can do this in the afternoon. It'll be okay, And so I think that's a good mentality to have. And like what you said of the reason behind it of, I think anybody could speak to this for the most part, especially anybody in ministry, that there's nothing better than walking into a sanctuary and it's just full of people and everybody's worshiping and you're like, this is awesome. And there's no seats and it's great. And it's like, there's an issue though.
Right.
There's a family of 6 that's coming in and they can't sit together because there's not enough seats. And we've shared this with the congregation too, but like that's the mindset of we're doing this to allow, to have more people to be able to come into it. So on this note, as far as like 2 different services and stuff, I want to hear from you guys of how do you play nice? How do you make friends with everybody? And how do you stay connected? Because you guys, people in the 9 o'clock, people at 11. Obviously, I don't think you can catch everybody, but what's kind of your mentality of like staying connected with everybody?
Well,
we've both been given the gift of gab. That's some of it. But
a stranger is a friend we've not met yet. And
it's good.
It just, we look at this as at church as a home. This is our church home. If someone new was coming to our residence, we would be welcoming, trying to make them feel as welcome as we could. The same mentality applies right here. And if you see someone for the first time, yes, there's a welcome team, but there's also people standing around us. Hey, how are you? And it's not the, hey, let me get your information so I can send you.
Sure, so I can send you email tomorrow. Yeah.
No, and you can visit with people without pressuring people. And that's my mentality.
It's also like the very first time we walked through these doors, that was one of the things we talked about. The culture here is so different than most churches. And I've even experienced it at a couple ladies' conferences that I've gone to. And I'm not bashing any other church. It's just I had forgotten like how our culture is here on the welcoming part of it. Like we don't have to, let me give your name and your information or let me get all that.
Sure.
Yes, we want that. And yes, we do ask that. But there's other people that genuinely care. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Just
want to get to know you.
Yes. It's more, that's just, I don't know. I think that's the difference. But I do think a lot of us are that way. A lot of us are welcoming and,
definitely.
That's the culture here. It just changes it.
Sure. And one thing I might add is out in the Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, you've got bunch of different people. You've got truck drivers, you've got business owners, doctors, lawyers, but inside these doors, we're all Christ followers.
Yeah.
And there's no one
Right.
above or below in the eyes of the Lord.
It's great.
There's no labels. And there's no labels here
Yeah.
either.
It's great.
I mean, it's,
And that's, personally, I've struggled with that because, yes, I get along with most people, but I don't like everybody.
Amen.
But
Hey,
it's-
we're called to love everybody,
Yeah.
not like everybody.
Right. But when that person that you don't really care for or you're not going to spend Saturday night hanging out with, when you realize Jesus loves them as much as he does you,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, it changes your mentality a little bit.
That's great. I love that mindset of, this is your home. And I think that, one thing over the years that it's always been something, I think just like I hear it and I want to correct people on it, is somebody that goes to church here, but then they'll tell me like, when I was at your church last week, and I was like, it's always like, no. It's like, no, this is our church.
Right.
This is, and like you said, our home.
Yeah.
In the same way, if, you'd want anybody to feel welcome if you've invited them into your home. And I think that, if anybody, whether it's at River of Life or it's anybody else in any other church, to get that mindset of, this is our home.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to be welcome. This isn't just, the pastor's house, but like this is our house too. And we want people to feel welcome in that. So it's great. That's some good thoughts on that. As the church is growing, because it's always growing. I mean, every week here, there's always new people showing up. Of course, I'm in youth, and so it's every Wednesday night. I got brand new kids that I don't know, and same thing is happening in kids' church. And it seems like what happens a lot of times is that as church grows, as new people are coming in, as changes happen, you see people that they leave the church, they leave the body because of the change. Mm-hmm. And not even necessarily that they have a good reason. It's just something new happened and they don't like it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts because this is kind of where we started. You guys have been through a lot of, even just here, and I know you've had previous church history and stuff, but how do you stay, if you will, up to date? How do you not get left behind?
My thought is, as the church is growing, grow with it.
Mm.
Yep.
Because if you get stagnant, it's like the pruning the vine. They prune off the dead for new life. And this is going to sound so bad, but if
it's really bad, we have an edit button. Get rid of it.
But if you've got negative Nelly or sour Sam sitting in the church, that everything that's said or done is offensive to him, bye. Go, if you're not happy here, go find somewhere where you are happy. And open up those 2 seats for someone who's excited.
And we've heard it before, of people that, you're looking for, and I may not say it right, but people that are like, I'm looking for the perfect church. And it's like, well, I hope you don't find it, because as soon as you walk into it, it's no longer the perfect church.
That's right.
And that's it. If the person's not willing to let God work on their heart, and that it's always, this offense, and if they can't deal with that offense, then about this. A couple weeks ago that I had actually said something, and what I had said that there had become some offense with somebody. And usually what happens in this circumstance is that the person holds on to it and they get upset, and then the next thing I say just sets them off, and then they're gone. And this person, and you would talk to him as well, but this person came and was like, hey, I'm offended by what you said. And in 10 years of ministry, I could count on one hand how many times I've had that happen.
You mean they were an adult about it?
Yeah, they were an
wanted
adult
to
about it and
have
was
a
like,
discussion?
hey, you said something I don't like.
Yeah.
Here's what you said. Can we talk about this? And I was like, thank God.
Yes.
Because this is a person I care about, that I like, that
Yes.
feel like I have good relationship with. And I was like, thank goodness that you came and talked to me, that this didn't turn into something else. Because like this is huge. This is important. And I feel like it's like what we're talking about here of, growing with the church. That's a great sign of growth of somebody.
Sure.
Because
Yeah, it
easily
is.
people are like, I don't like what you said.
Right.
I'm going to do something different. That's
But
great.
It's also like, think about, why are you coming? Like, why are you coming? You might not like everybody in church, and that's okay. You don't have to. Like you said a minute ago, you're called to love them, not, you don't have to like them or be their BFF. But if you're coming and somebody here, like somebody says something, are you coming for, let's go back to you offended somebody. Am I coming for Tanner, for Pastor Tanner, or am I coming for God?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Exactly. And Pastor Mike's always said it of, don't put me in a spot that I'm God, because I'm a man.
Right.
I'm going to make a mistake. Yes. I'm going to do things that, I'm going to do my best to follow God. And there's times that I missed it on something. Don't call me God, because I'm not. I'm just following and doing the best to lead. And so I think that just like we're all called to do on this.
Right.
I think, and back to the original question, I'm sorry I got off track, but to grow with the growing church, be willing to do everything that you can. The classes, go to the classes.
Mm-hmm. Get plugged in.
Go to small groups.
It's a great plug. We have classes about to start very soon.
Yes. And I know one really good teacher. But the small groups, the life groups, whatever but staying in small mentality and then coming in here on Wednesdays and Sunday to big. There's more to church than just 2 days a week.
Yes.
And there's more to growing than just 2 days a week.
Sure. And it's the very cliche thing, and it gets said a lot. But, imagine if you were only eating on Wednesdays, and we're actually in a fast right now, so it kind of feels like that. But imagine if you're only eating on Wednesdays and Sundays, and we've heard it forever, but really,
it's true.
It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same way in this growth, and we're talking about getting left behind. That's the only time.
And there's so many people, and I've done it, and it's easy to do, but you get your clique, so to speak, your 5 or 6 or 8 people that you want to talk to, and then no one else really matters. Or you might speak to them, but it's a shallow conversation of, hey, how was your week? And 2 minutes later, you can't even tell me how their week was.
Mm-hmm.
But and I've done that.
Oh, sure.
Don't get just fixed on a few people.
Yeah.
Open yourself up to where you are. Make yourself available to a lot.
That's great.
Of folks.
That's good advice.
Mingle.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
I know that you both, but just especially you, I notice a lot. Like on Sunday mornings, you're somebody that I kind of make a point of I need to say hi to Todd at some point. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're really hard to talk to because you're talking to everybody everywhere in the halls. And I'm like, I'll catch him after service, maybe, or text him or whatever. I know that you do it too. And of course, a lot of times you're in the cafe working and doing different things. But, what you're saying is things that you're living out.
Sure.
You're doing it.
No, you're just, and and maybe that's why people are drawn to us, because we are intentional with people. We walk up and, hey, Pastor Tanner, how was your week?
Yeah.
Right.
Or Caden, how was your week? And do you need prayer on anything?
Yeah.
How awesome would it be to look down the hall and see men praying for men,
sure,
or women praying for women before church even starts?
Right. Yeah. Not in the altars at the end of a service, but we're already just doing it.
And then if you do that, next time you see them, hey, what we prayed about, how'd that turn out?
That's how people care.
Right. Instead of the good old, hey, if you get a chance, will you say a prayer for me? And then, oh, sure.
Yeah.
But you never do.
Right.
Unless you stop right then.
You're right.
Because I'm walking through talking to 100 people on Sunday morning. Hey, will you say a prayer for me? Yeah, let's do it right now.
It's the way. Great. I think we've all been guilty of that. I'm just like, yeah, you bet. I'll say it tonight when I go to bed.
You're number one on my list.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like never give another thought.
And pray, and you're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
what
was I supposed to talk about? Right,
please.
Exactly. Hey, I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to continue to somewhat talk about this. But something that we do here and that a lot of churches do, and they've all got different names and labels for it. We call it life groups here, and you mentioned it earlier. You guys, how many times have you guys been life group leaders?
This will be our third year.
Be your third time. Side note from anything super spiritual, have you guys done any house upgrades like in preparation for life groups? Have you guys ever like the biggest thing I've seen right now? I've got like so many people. I was actually talking to somebody today. Completely redone their whole kitchen, like new countertops, everything.
Oh
I know another couple, like they got new appliances. They're like, this is what I've been waiting for. For 5 years, I've needed a reason to get my house. And so like, if for no other reason of life groups and people hosting, they're great because people are like getting their houses ready to go. Yeah, it's crazy. But so you guys have been life group leaders several times now. And whether you guys know this or not, because I get to see some stuff on the backside, but usually when life groups get opened up, your guys is one of the first to get filled up every time. In fact, I remember a couple times ago, you guys had
it was like 30.
Last year we ran 28 to 30 people.
You were
Yeah.
like,
life groups.
yeah, you had like a small church.
We really did.
We had a bigger congregation than a lot of churches.
Yeah, around here we live like in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, where do people park? Like I know where you guys live.
We figured it out.
Park them in there. So like every time your guys is one of the first houses. And if you're watching this and you're a life group leader and you're like, I'm just like, it's the facts of it. Like every time there's just one of the first ones to fill up and they always all get filled up. Right. But your guys especially like so quick on it. I just want to hear, and this is a chance because nobody wants to brag on themselves, but I kind of want you to a little bit because we've got a lot of new life group leaders and maybe people for the first time that are going to be joining a life group. Talk to me a little bit about as far as, your life group, maybe why you think that you guys always don't have any problem filling up your home and why your guys is a reason that we have to cap them at certain numbers because otherwise it's like 100 people are coming to your house. Let's talk about life groups. Why do you think this is?
I think it's because what we talked about a minute ago, we've already kind of built relationships with people. We've already had conversations with them, so they feel comfortable already. They're like, hey, I know them. Mm-hmm. We've already talked to them. They've already made me feel welcome. So if I'm going to their house, they're going to make me feel welcome.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if I'm not saying you can't go to somebody you don't know. I mean, we would do that. I mean, obviously we're not.
Yeah, you are the people to show up at some random's house.
Yeah.
But a lot of people wouldn't.
Right. But I think that's some of it. I mean, I really do because we've already talked to the majority of the people or at least a good portion of them.
I think a lot of it too is we're real. We don't.
Hopefully, I mean, we're obviously approachable, which is a good thing, and I'm going to brag on that because not everybody is approachable.
Yeah,
and
you're
I
right.
know that's something I personally have had to work on because sometimes this,
face sometimes our resting church face isn't very good.
Right,
and
right.
I've been told about that. People have told me they're like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, what do you mean it's wrong? You're not smiling. I was like, I'm joy of the Lord. I'm like, they're like, well, you haven't smiled all day. I'm like, I am sorry. Like,
it's just like I'm just very thoughtful. Like I'm in and I'm focused or something, I guess. But I've been told that, so I try to work on that part.
It's good.
I think it's important.
I can look at her, and she'll know I'm telling her. So you need to change your face.
Fix your face.
Oh, there you go.
You need to fix your face.
Yeah,
that's good. I have those for when I'm ready to leave somewhere. I've got the look to give to Michaela. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but no, that's good.
But no, the life group, I don't know why. Ours fills up quick. We're just welcoming, and they cut it at so many this year. 12 or something?
I think something
that sounds about right.
And I'm sure before it's all said and done, there's going to be more.
Right. And that's the goal for them, is to cut them so people can add.
Yeah.
Every year there's like, I messed up and I didn't get signed up, but I really want to come to yours. Well,
yeah, we can tell them no.
Right.
Well, I don't like everybody, but no, I'm kidding.
Hey, there's some. Actually, I think you'd be better suited for so-and-so's.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I'm kidding when I say that. Every year it grows more and more. And
we've always had a good group of people, though. It's always been fun. Like this is also you build relationships. This is where you get to know people even more. And the conversations that you have in that small group setting is totally different than what you would have here in the sanctuary with, and I'm not saying you couldn't, but I'm just saying it's just I don't know. I mean,
Well, a small group is where you get you get to know each other.
yeah,
When you come in here on Wednesday and Sunday, really what you know of people is what they want you to know.
right.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
that's true.
And
That's it.
So, in the small group setting is where people open up and make themselves say that word.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, I can't say that. I'm not even going to try. But the when you do that, you actually grow so much. And as far as the new life group leaders, it's how we've grown and learned more is to teach. If you want to learn, teach.
True.
Because-
It pushes you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you put time and effort into being prepared for your
Sure.
lesson, and then and that's where we grow through it every year.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
I will say, if we need to remodel the kitchen for life group, this would be the last year for life group.
We're done. No more. Sell the house.
No remodeling.
No.
No.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's such good advice, and especially of teaching,
Yeah.
of how and we've all been there. I like to show up to life groups. Like last time we hosted in our home, and we had somebody else in our house teaching for us, and so this time I'm just going to show up. I think at people's houses and just be
Yeah.
a part of it. I such enjoy when I show up and like people are ready.
Yeah.
Not that we're gonna be so strict for 2 hours and it's just like
Right.
put me to sleep. But it's like they've at least got a thought together. They got something they want to get across to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not just let's just, you got any thoughts over there? It's like there was no effort put into it. So if you are hosting a life group for the first time or whatever, that's so good of, teach yourself,
Be prepared.
be ready.
Yeah.
That's right. Be
Yeah.
ready for it.
Yeah.
That's great advice. We're kind of closing this out here. Just one kind of final thought that I want to hit on with you guys, and you guys have given such good advice throughout all this. But this whole idea of we want people to stay active and we want people to stay engaged within the church. And I feel like that's the best way for people to stay involved. We see it so many times. Yeah, we see people that leave a church that were volunteers, but it's more rare when it's somebody that's, really, a lot of times it's the people that they show up, they never get plugged in, they're here for a few months, and then you don't see them anymore. Give us some final thoughts here for somebody to really stay active, to stay engaged within a church. What would be some tips if you were telling somebody that, they're sitting in a congregation right now and they're like, I want to get more involved in the church, or maybe they're feeling like I feel like I'm left behind, or I'm not in the know of what's going on. What's some thoughts that you would give to somebody?
Get plugged in. Stay plugged in. God gives everybody gifts. Find what you want to do, and that's probably a gift that He's given you. So use it. Like my own example is cafe. I liked to cook, so I naturally was just drawn there. That was my thing.
Right.
So, do you know how many people I've met through serving? And then all
Everybody
those
likes
people,
food.
Yeah. And not just the people you work with, but the people that come through the line.
Right.
You get to have conversations. But that just, the more people that you know and you talk to, you're probably less likely to leave.
Yeah.
You're actually involved in their life. Or, like he said a minute ago, details about their life. So you're going to naturally have conversations and check on them. And
Right.
I don't know.
Because you actually care about them.
Yeah.
Really,
You're invested.
that's the key. It's just like Jaci said, get plugged in, find somewhere to serve,
Yep.
and remember you're a volunteer, and have the mindset of I get to serve this week instead of I have to serve
That's
this
good.
week. And if you come in with the happy mindset of I get to do this, I signed up for it.
Right.
Here we go. This is my week.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
do whatever you're doing to the best of your ability. And that's my thought of it.
I think it'd be, if you're plugged in and actually serving, if you get left behind, then that's your choice. That's not, that's like a mindset that you're bringing in. That's not I don't know. If you're actually involved, you're less likely to walk away.
Yeah.
You're not going to be left behind because you are a part of everything.
And I think that's something that we can make a conscious prayer as well of like, God, give me this, we talk about like having a sound mind.
Yeah.
And people don't say that and they don't really know what it means. But I think that's so good there because especially, and I know you guys can speak to this well, you guys volunteer heavily here. Mm-hmm. And I know good and well, like there are days where it's like, I don't want to, or there's, not that I don't want to maybe, but it's like, I would rather be doing something else or be involved in something different. And it can be easy to get that mindset very quickly of like, I don't want to do this today, or because somebody backed out last minute. Now I got to show up. You're in the cafe, somebody backed out, and now I got to show up at 6:30, and I was going to sleep in and go to late service, and now I'm here, and now I'm angry, and all these things. And it can be very easy in a moment to, I think, let a seed develop. Sure. And now we're against the church as a whole, right? Because one person backed out of, they denied their acceptor on Planning Center. And now we view that whole Sunday as I don't want to be here. And I think that of what you were just talking about, both of you, of, that we get to do this, but like doing it with purpose.
Yeah.
And, and if you need a break, then you take a break. But it's like, I want to do this because I'm changing a life. But
you're also serving. I mean, yes, you're serving the people, but you're also, again, you're using God's gift. You're serving the Lord too.
It's exactly.
Like, and this may sound crazy, but on the days where someone has not been able to come and you step in and fill in for them, some of the biggest blessings have came out of that. Maybe you're in that position that day for that person that you're talking to. And if you have a blessing mindset, you see blessings in everything.
It's great.
And maybe they just so-and-so didn't show up, so now you and I are working together. Maybe you talked to me about something that you had on your chest that we both leave here different.
Right. God knows what he's doing.
God knows what he's doing. And it would not have happened had the original person came.
Divine appointments.
And that goes back to what I said. I get to serve today instead of I have to go fill in for.
If you're feeling like you have to, you need to serve somewhere else.
It's great.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Because if you're not happy, we'll find you happy.
It's just like the two services. Yeah. You don't have to show up to the same service every week.
Right.
If you don't like where you're volunteering or if you don't like where you're serving, there's tons of places from driving a golf cart in the parking lot to making food to, being with babies to whatever. There are so many places to be involved in it. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us as the almost first.
You are the first guest. You are like the first real episode, and so this is like the benchmark from here on out. Good. People are gonna be like, "This is what." But no, seriously, thank you guys so much, and some great stuff. It's to the roof here. They're gonna have to climb high to get to that one. No, I think there's some great stuff in this, and I pray that people would take this and that they would, maybe people right now that they love what they're doing. They love the church that they're in, and they're watching this or listening to it because they just like, how can I be better? Maybe somebody's watching or listening to this that is on the fence of like, I'm ready to drop out. I'm ready to do something different. And I pray that we could take this stuff and that it would bless people of like, hey, I want to stay engaged and I want to stay active in a growing church because I don't want to get left behind and I want to continue to grow with what God's doing. So again, thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed today's podcast, you can follow us on Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube so you can stay up to date and know what's going on. Hey, thank you so much for watching, or maybe you're listening to this, whatever it might be. I pray that this episode has blessed you. I pray that you've gotten something from it, and I pray that you will stay active and be engaged in your growing